Hello everyone, my name is Alex and welcome to School Rabbit Studios. So, Arturia has launched the V Collection 9, introducing 4 new instruments and also upgrading 4 different instruments that were already on the collection. In this video, I'm going to show you how they sound and also I'm going to give my opinion on this. So, without further ado, let's go! If you didn't know, the V Collection is, well, a collection of more than 30 different instruments. Most of them are emulation of classic and famous synthesizers, like the Mini Moog, the Jupiter 8, the Oberheim SEM, and also they emulate different famous keys and electric pianos, like the Mellotron, the Hammond, and the Wurlitzer, to just name a few. Now, this one is the V Collection 9, which is an upgrade for the V Collection 8, and that means there's new stuff on it. And this video is about that, it's about the new stuff in the collection. If you want me to review the collection as a whole, please leave a comment. I just want to say that Arturia makes a really good job with all their plugins, and they not only make synthesizer emulations, they also have a wide variety of effects, which happens to be also emulations. But they also have Pigments 3.5, which is one of the best digital modern synthesizer out there, in my opinion. I really love it and I use it all the time. So, about sound quality, the collection sounds really great, not only as analog emulation, but also as standalone synthesizers. In my opinion, with the collection, you can make the most 80s inspired track or even the most modern sounding EDM song of all time, and everything in between. So let's go to the new stuff that the V Collection 9 is offering. And let's start with the SQ80. This one is not really new because Arturia has been selling this synthesizer as a standalone for a long time. So this may be bad news for people that already had this plugin and had the V Collection 8. That's one of the reasons why many V Collection 8 users are not happy with this collection, because they feel it's not worth to pay the price just to have a couple of new synthesizers. So that's one less actual new thing on the collection. But still, if you didn't have the collection, you are going to get this, and this is one of my favorite synthesizers on the collection. I don't care if it sounds like the original or how well it emulated, I just love how it sounds. It's a synthesizer in which you can mix different kinds of oscillators with different wave shapes to get really crazy and unique sounds. Let's take a listen. For me, this one sounds gorgeous. It's really lush, but it's really fat too. You can make a wide variety of sounds with this. You heard that I also had a really fat kick on the track I showed to you. And yeah, the whole track is made just with instances of the SQ80, and it was a bit improvised, so I'm sorry if it's not the best track you have listened in your life. So it's really good, it's a really great sound, and with this synth alone, you can make amazing tracks. And Arturia has included a lot of effects on the SQ80, almost the same quantity as for something advanced like Pigments has. What's my opinion about the SQ80? I simply love it. The next one is the Korg MS-20, which is an emulation of the, well, Korg MS-20, which is a classic hardware unit that's getting pretty popular because you can get a real analog synthesizer right now that's based on the classic unit, and there are other companies that have emulated this particular synthesizer, for example Cherry Audio. This synthesizer is a bit complex because it has a patch bay, which in my opinion has its own learning curve to get really cool sounds out of it. But you don't need to know how to use the patch bay. This is a semi-modular synthesizer, which means you still can get a lot of different sounds just by using the knobs. And this one sounds really dirty, but in a really good way. Let's take a listen, and again, this was an improvised track using just instances of the MS-20. The sound is amazing. As I said, it sounds dirty in a good way. I believe the filter is really well thought, and they carefully emulated the behavior of the analog machine, so you can get really nice distortion and saturation of the different sounds you make. So I really like this one also because in the collection there are a lot of analog emulations that have this kind of dirty spirit to it, but this one goes above the rest, and it really shows how well Arturia is getting with the quality of their plugins. It also has a really nice analog sequencer that you can patch with the patch bay, and finally it has really nice effects, again a lot of effects, almost every effect that comes with pigments. So Arturia is taking care of making these plugins more advanced. Just take a look on how limited were the effects on something like the Juno 60. And that really is for the analog emulations. They are really good, but still is the question if it's enough to make the upgrade worth it. And now for the other two new instruments that are something like a new collection of instruments from Arturia. They introduced the augmented strings not so long ago, and now with the collection you can get the augmented voice. These augmented instruments have the particularity that you can blend two different kinds of sounds with the center knob, and you can change the effect amount of each parameter with the smaller knobs that are around it. And not only that, the engine for these plugins is physical modeling. That said, they are going to be really heavy plugins on your CPU, but they can get really interesting sounds and realistic sounds because of their engine. And that opens a lot of possibilities because you can experiment with those sounds not in the same way as, for example, a sampler can do. They sound pretty amazing, right? You can really get interesting sounds, and I feel that I'm just scratching the surface with this. It's really lush, they are really deep, and not only that, they are really modern too. And after playing around with both of these plugins, I am really looking forward to see if Arturia really has planned more augmented instruments. So that's it for the new stuff. For this alone, is the upgrade worth it? It really depends. Because if your computer doesn't have a really good CPU, you may find yourself struggling to get the sounds you want without having to freeze your tracks. And for some people that could be a pain. So especially if you already had the Collection 8, there are a lot of time with the introductory price, so be patient and test everything before you buy it. But that's not the only new things that came with the V Collection 9. There are also some upgrades to different synthesizers that were on the V Collection 8. In my taste, they make these plugins a lot different, so it's almost like new synthesizers. Let's start with the CS80, which for me it's a really amazing sounding synthesizer. What is new is a bit of the engine, a bit of the UI, and this is a great example to show you what is making me happy about these upgrades from Arturia. They are adding a lot more effects and capabilities for modulation to these plugins that originally didn't have too much. So now you have a great variety of effects you can apply to the CS80, which in itself is a really advanced synthesizer. And with the SQ80, this one is one of my favorite sounding ones. Just take a listen. And again, a track made just with instances from the CS80. Sounds amazing, it sounds classic, lush, and you can really make amazing brasses with this and every other kind of sound. So I'm looking forward to see if Arturia will update other plugins that really need a more deep interface, especially with the advanced features. And finally, we have the Prophet, which originally was just one instance where you could change the Prophet from the VS to the Prophet 5 or a mixture of both, but now you have the two Prophets separated. And I think that this was something that needed to happen because both are really different plugins. And again, now we have more control on the effects, especially on the advanced tab. And again, almost all the effects you can find on pigments. And for me, they even sound different. For example, in the V Collection 8, the Prophet 5 didn't sound too good for me, but now it sounds amazing. Blew my mind how good it's sounding, how analog and fat it's sounding. And the other, it was an already interesting plugin, but now you can get the most out of the joystick, which basically what it does is crossfading between each one of the oscillators, which also, like the SQ80, happens to be almost like a wavetable, because are not conventional wave shapes. Take a listen. So I really welcome this new upgrade for these plugins, and I'm looking forward to see if they will make the same with other plugins that are not as advanced as these ones. For example, I already mentioned the Juno 60. And lastly, we have the piano. On the V Collection 8, I personally didn't use the piano ever because I already have the addictive keys, and also I have the UVY Grand Piano Model D. Both sound amazing, and the piano on the V Collection 8 didn't convince me, but I gotta say, this new piano really sounds good. And not only that, but well, they took the time to make a really beautiful user interface, even if that doesn't matter at the end for the sound quality. So how does it sound? Let's listen. I frankly think it sounds really good. If you don't have any piano emulation, this one it's great for everything you want. And not only that, you can choose different kind of pianos depending on your needs. From a concert grand piano to an old jazzy stage kind of piano. Each one with its own kind of sound and its own parameters you can tweak to get a really distinct sound. And that's it. That's all the new stuff that comes with the V Collection 9. So for closing thoughts, is this a good purchase? I gotta say it depends. If you already got the V Collection 8, I already said in the video that you may want to take things slowly and try it yourself to see if you like it, to see if you like the sound, and to see if the new CPU can handle the new instruments. So you make a really good decision if you want to upgrade from the V Collection 8 to the 9. After trying each demo, you may answer the question if it's worth to pay the update price. And if you don't have the V Collection and you're interested by it, I think it's a pretty good buy, even if it's so expensive as it is. Maybe they will make a half price sale on the future, but at the end depends on how soon you want to have the collection. I think Arturia makes really great digital products with a really high quality of sound, and they know that their consumers are really different. So with their plugins, you can just be using different presets and sounds to get classic kind of analog vibes, or even some common sounds you can get on modern productions. But you can also get really experimental with everything Arturia does, especially for the modulation capabilities of their instruments, the effects, and the overall user experience. And that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please leave a like and consider subscribing. That means the world to me. Remember to take care, be the best, and get the sound quality your music deserves. See you next time, bye bye.